Hi, everyone. I'm Kevin Nelson. Here's a look at what's going on this week in the news. We begin with news from Rome. Pope Francis visited a parish on the outskirts of Rome this past weekend. During his time there, he talked with the children, heard confessions, and celebrated Mass. Rome Reports has more from the parish.
The Pope spent Sunday afternoon in a parish in Rome, St. Pier Damiani, on the outskirts of the city. As soon as he arrived, he met the children who received catechesis there. They asked him several questions. One asked what they can do to save the world. The Pope proposed some ideas: prayer, playing, and respecting people.
Cosa devo fare? Se una persona mi ha fatto del male, io posso farle di un male a lui? No, non è bello. Posso telefonare alla mafia perché faccia qualcosa? Non siete convinti, eh? Si può fare questo? Si può fare accordi con la mafia?
One of the children also asked Pope Francis how he discovered his vocation and why he became a priest.
Avevo 16 anni e ho sentito che il Signore voleva che io fossi prete. Eccomi, sono prete. Questa è la risposta. Si sente nel cuore quando un ragazzo sente nel cuore simpatia e poi quella simpatia va avanti e sente amore per una ragazza e poi si sono fidanzati e poi si sposano. Così si sente nel cuore quando il Signore ti dice tu devi andare avanti sulla strada per diventare prete.
Later, the Pope met with a group of the Neo-Catechumenal Way, then with several poor, and later heard the confessions of 4 people.
In his homily at the Mass, the Pope told those gathered that the sin committed most frequently in Christian parishes and groups is bad-mouthing and backstabbing each other, which not only divides the community, it drives away people who come seeking God. He told them that every Christian has been given the gift of the Holy Spirit, which includes a special language, a language of tenderness and respect that is also mirrored in one's behavior. In news from around the country, the Basilica of the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception in Washington, Bishop J. Kevin Boland of Savannah, Georgia, said his final Mass as Bishop Promoter of the Apostleship of the Sea. Bishop Boland, who began his tenure as Bishop Promoter in 2008, paid homage at the Mass to the seafarers and those who tend to their spiritual and practical needs. The Mass also celebrated the National Day of Prayer and Remembrance for Mariners and People of the Sea, which officially falls on May 22nd. The Apostleship of the Sea not only provides for the spiritual needs of the seafarers, but they also provide practical services such as getting calling cards so they can call home, take them shopping, and help them when they're sick or in trouble while away from home. In the United States, a variety of chaplains, religious as well as lay ministers and volunteers carry out the ministry in 58 maritime ports representing 47 dioceses. Bishop Brendan Cahill of Victoria, Texas, will take over as Bishop Promoter of the Apostleship of the Sea when Bishop Boland ends his term in June. In news from the Vatican, Pope Francis had a number of intentions and announcements at the conclusion of the Regina Coeli prayer this past Sunday. The Pope prayed for the Central African Republic, for Chinese Catholics, and he also announced 5 new cardinals for the Church. Rome Reports has more from St. Peter's Square.
Pope Francis concluded the Regina Coeli prayer on Sunday with a surprising announcement. On June 28th, he will create 5 new cardinals.
La loro provenienza da diverse parti del mondo manifesta la cattolicità della Chiesa.
Among the new cardinals, there are many surprises and symbolic gestures. One is the Bishop of Stockholm, Anders Aurelius, the first Swedish named bishop since the Reformation. He became a Catholic at age 20, and when Pope Francis traveled to Sweden, he applauded his efforts for ecumenism. Auxiliary Bishop of San Salvador, Gregorio Rosa Chavez, will also be appointed cardinal. He was a collaborator of Blessed Oscar Romero. He will become the first cardinal who is auxiliary bishop. Also on the list is Juan José Omella, Archbishop of Barcelona. He was a former missionary in Zaire and has much experience in several Spanish dioceses. Pope Francis will also name cardinal the Archbishop of Bamako in Mali, Jean Zerbo, who has been very active in the peace negotiations in the country. Luis Marie Ling Mengakakun from Laos is also on the list. His country has 6 million inhabitants and only 31,000 Catholics. In total, there are now 121 cardinal electors. Minutes before the announcement, Pope Francis once again called for peace in the Central African Republic.
Tacciano le armi e prevalga la buona volontà di dialogare per dare al Paese pace e sviluppo.
Pope Francis was referring to acts of violence against Muslims committed by the anti-Balaka militia. More than 80 people have died in recent days, and the number is not larger thanks to the intervention of the Bishop of Bangassou. He acted as a human shield to take Muslims to a Catholic cathedral to take refuge. Pope Francis also asked for prayers for Chinese Catholics on May 24th, because the Catholic Church celebrates the World Day of Prayer for the Church in China instituted by Benedict XVI.
And finally in the news, there is no shortage of issues to address for the U.S. bishops at their upcoming spring assembly, June 14th through the 15th in Indianapolis. They will discuss issues from immigration to religious freedom, along with the Synod of Bishops on Youth, the 5th National Encuentro gathering coming up in 2018, and the upcoming convocation in Orlando in July. Bishop Oscar Cantu, chairman of the Committee on International Justice and Peace, will address the persecution of Christians abroad and the hardships they face in places like Asia and the Middle East. The bishops will also discuss the 2018 Synod of Bishops, in which the Pope wants to discuss young people, faith, and discernment. And the bishops will discuss and vote on whether to establish the ad hoc committee for religious liberty as a permanent USCCB committee, and consider for discussion revised guidelines for the celebration of sacraments with persons of disabilities. The public sessions of the Bishops' Assembly will be all day on June 14th and half the day on June 15th. Well, that is all the information we have for you this time. I'm Kevin Nelson. Don't forget, you can keep up to date on Catholic news throughout the week with Catholic Newsbreak right here on the Catholic TV network.